You manage things, you lead people. Welcome back to The Uncomfortable Truth. And today I want to talk about a sentence that's been sitting with me for weeks. It's from Grace Hopper. She was a rear admiral, a computer scientist, and one of the people who basically invented modern programming. And she said this: you manage things, you lead people. That's it. 9 words. And I think most of us are quietly getting that backwards in our own lives. We're managing the people around us, our kids, our partners, our teams, even ourselves, like they're line items to control. And we're leading things, our schedules, our to-do lists, our 5-year plans, like they need our vision and our trust. It's flipped. And today I want to talk about what happens when we flip it back. Let's start somewhere real, not personal, because this pattern shows up everywhere once you know what you're looking for, including in city government. Earlier this year, a mid-sized city in North Carolina found itself in serious financial trouble. Over 2 years, the city burned through most of its cash reserves. We're talking about $80 million loss. A state audit came out and named the cause plainly that spending kept climbing while revenue kept falling, and nobody with real oversight stepped in to stop it. 100 full-time employees lost their jobs. Residents got hit with a 15% rate increase on basic utilities like electricity, water, gas, trash, practically overnight. When state officials reviewed what happened, the language they used wasn't about numbers. One state commission member said flatly that what she saw was a failure of leadership, not a failure of math, not a failure of systems, a failure of leadership. Now, here's the detail that stuck with me. The city manager and the council weren't ignoring their jobs. They were managing budgets, managing departments, and managing the day-to-day. The infrastructure of managing was technically in place. What was missing was someone actually leading the people who depended on that city, being honest with them early, bringing them into the reality of the situation, and taking responsibility before it became a crisis instead of after. They managed the things. Nobody led the people, and the people are the ones paying for it, literally, in their utility bills. Here's why this isn't just a story about a city council. It's a story about how most of us operate. In my world, we talk a lot about the difference between fixing a system and actually seeing the person inside of it. A budget spreadsheet is a thing. It can be optimized, adjusted, and controlled. A person is not a thing. A person needs to be told the truth, brought into the plan, trusted with the real picture, and not managed like an obstacle to a clean outcome. Most of us do this exact same swap in our own lives, just smaller. We manage our kids instead of leading them, controlling their behavior, their schedules, their outputs, instead of showing them where we're headed and letting them trust enough to follow. We manage our own emotions instead of leading ourselves through them, suppressing, scheduling, powering through it, instead of being honest about what's actually happening and choosing a direction anyways. Underneath all of it is a belief that if you just control the variables tightly enough, you won't need to deal with the human mess of leadership, the vulnerability of saying, I don't have this fully figured out, but here's where I'm going and I need you with me. Managing feels safe. It's measurable. Leading requires you to be seen. The city council had every spreadsheet updated. What they didn't have was the willingness to stand in front of their people and say the hard thing before it became unavoidable. That's not a competence gap. That's a courage gap. Here's the part most people skip because it's uncomfortable. You're someone who leans hard into managing your calendar, your kids, your team, your own feelings. It's usually not because you're a control freak for no reason. It's because somewhere along the way, trusting people with the truth cost you something. Maybe you led with honesty once you got burned. Maybe you were the kid who had to manage the chaos in your own house because nobody else was leading. So you build a version of yourself that keeps things tight, predictable, contained, because contained feels safe and led feels exposed. I'm not telling you that to let you off the hook. I'm telling you that because you can't lead people from a place you're protecting yourself from. If leadership means being seen, being trusted, being honest before you have to be, and some part of you learn that's dangerous, you will default to managing every single time and you'll call it responsibility. The real question isn't, am I a good manager? Almost everyone listening to this. The question is, where in your life are you managing a person who actually needs you to lead them? Your kid, your partner, your team, yourself. at the 2 in the morning when you can't sleep, when you are optimizing the schedule instead of telling the truth. That's the deeper layer. Managing is often leadership's hiding place. So here's what I want you to do today, not eventually. One relationship where you know you've been managing instead of leading. You already know which one it is. It came to mind the second I said it. Now have one honest conversation with that person in the next 24 hours where you do 3 things. 1, name the real situation out loud without softening it to a task list. 2, tell them where you're actually trying to go, the direction, not the checklist. And 3, ask them directly to trust you with it, even if you don't have every detail solved. That's it. Not a bigger plan, not a better system. One honest conversation where you lead instead of manage. That's the whole exercise. Now, that's what I've got for you today. Go have that conversation. The people in your life aren't line items, and neither are you. Talk soon.